Also, a thing which I missed apart. I'm a kitchen trusted person. I was only asked one question from kitchen. Vikram had trust in me when I lost trust on myself, and that is quite necessary for a mentor. I'll be quite honest with you. The placement season started very gloomful. I was getting rejected from every brand. Something or the other was not working around, and it's way better to get in touch with someone who has such demonstrated experience on the industry and knows it inside out pretty well, and it's still connected with the nitty-gritties of it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our catch-up session. This is your host Anisha, and today we will be having another alumni of Young Leader Bootcamp, Rishav, with us. So get ready for the inspirational and exciting session. But first, let's welcome Rishav and see who Rishav is, and let's have a quick introduction. Hello, welcome Rishav.
Hello, very good morning, Anisha. And firstly, thank you so much for having me on board. So, for my introduction, I was born and brought up in Kolkata itself. I did my schooling from Delhi Public School, Ruby Park, Kolkata, post which I joined IHM Kolkata. So, why I joined IHM Kolkata? I have a keen interest towards the culinary arts, and this actually all started at a very young age. Watching my mother and grandmother cook always intrigued me. Like, how did they turn such simple ingredients into such delicious and colorful, dishes on the table? So, thanks to that curiosity, I even started working at the kitchen in my home kitchen, doing the simple chores. And from there, the curiosity further compounded with many more culinary content and everything. And then I joined IHM Kolkata. Also, I got a great opportunity to do my industrial training from the Oberoi Grand Kolkata, where I learned more about the industrial setup, the SOPs, and much more.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. It was a lovely introduction. Okay, so let's dive into it. And firstly, help us understand how many brands, how many companies you actually sit for.
Okay, so for me, the interview season started with the Oberois, followed by Taj, ITC, Marriott, Accor, Lalit, and EHV. EHV stands for Ekatra Hospitality Ventures, which houses brands like Indian Accent, Cormoran, Hosa, all those things.
Okay. And Rishabh, I got to know that you have done, besides from Young Leader Bootcamp, you have done other boot camps and other programs as well with us, right? Firstly, could you please elaborate on that? What all boot camps you did with us?
So I was a part of the Young Leaders Bootcamp, as you said, and also I was the part of the Bacchus classes. So it is a more wine focused and wine knowledge oriented classes. I was part of that as well.
So, Rishabh, I understand for a fact that when you choose to invest your time somewhere, you do it because you get a value out of that, right? So
Yes.
when we see that you have done, say, 2 or 3 boot camp and programs with us, what makes TBH Circle different from other organizations out there?
Okay, so firstly, it's the one-on-one interaction and the attention which is paid to us. Like, that's spot on, very nice. For Bacchus, we got a mentor called Mr. Savio Cardoza, who was a great sommelier. I even, sometimes chat with him right now, and he even addresses those questions as well. And for YLB, I was fortunate enough to be mentored by Vikram Kukreja. And trust me, from those one-on-one mentorship, many things can be developed in a person, which I certainly experienced. And nowadays, Vikram and I have, bonded like a younger brother and an older brother. So it has further compounded our relationship. So that's one thing. Also, the quality of people Mr. Vikram, brings on board. Like, I remember we attended various sessions where we interacted with general managers of St. Regis Goa, the Conrad Pune, and much more. So when you do all those things, you get more exposure towards the industry, and when industry leaders are speaking to you, you get more clarity of thought towards how the thought process you should develop towards. So that's, I think, is something which is very much set apart from other organizations.
Definitely, could agree on that. And I know that being consistent is not an easy step. Being consistent takes a lot of efforts, and you were consistent throughout the journey, right? what is that one thing that motivated you to being consistent in this?
Okay, so firstly, as you know, also Vikram said this, it needs to be a two-way street. If
Right.
he's putting in efforts, we need to also put in efforts. It's not like you buy a program and you get land an empty, right? You need to put in those efforts. You need to be consistent with all those things which are being discussed. And one thing which I've seen that being consistent, whether it's a session or in your overall commitment to your work, there are many nitty gritties which you might, notice, which
Mm.
further make a very major impact in a certain occasion or a certain event, which might, you know, result in a very positive way for you. Also, consistency should be what I believe should be a great habit as it, builds a character. I'm showing up every day. I'm doing completing my tasks. In a way, I'm just developing myself for the next stage as well. Right. So that's what I look forward to.
Definitely. I think the first step should be that this is for me.
Yeah.
And that is what motivates you. Great. So Rishabh, what will you joining? Which brand you will be joining?
So I am looking forward to joining Taj
Okay.
as a hotel operations management trainee.
Okay. And if you could tell us what process Taj follows for MTs?
Certainly. So this year, what we faced was firstly a case study, followed by a aptitude test of the specific department. Although kitchen had a very different set because kitchen they wanted to focus mainly on the skills and the knowledge, while other operation sectors had a total integrated test. And that is solely because HDP operations and the HDP culinary is both different things.
Right.
Also, followed by that, we had a personal interview along with our HOD of the departments. Post that for kitchen, since I'm a kitchen interested, we had a trade test. After the trade test, we went for the general managers round, post which we had the corporate round. And for HDPs, after the corporate round, there are a couple of more rounds, which is a psychometric test, followed by a VAC round and a one-on-one interaction. Now, for the trade test, as I mentioned, it was broken up into two parts. One was the cooking itself, what you're going to represent and what you are going to date up to the chef. Also, breakfast egg preparation, for which we got omelets. And
Okay.
it,
Okay.
yeah, and it may sound pretty easy omelets, but it is quite tricky to get the perfect Babu's consistency and everything.
Yeah, if you say so. I have no idea, but if you say so, I believe you. Rishabh, and which round or which stage was the most challenging for you?
It has to be the general managers round.
Mm-hmm. Why
Like,
so?
so I had a conception that for the general managers round, I would be only facing the general manager himself. Because
Okay.
since I was trained in Oberoi's, and in Oberoi's, I've only seen people facing the general manager only. So here I had to face a panel of four people.
Mhm.
One was the L&D in charge of the hotel, followed by the regional L&D in charge, the general manager, and the general manager was a cluster general manager, followed by the HR head of the area. So one thing which was challenging for me was different genres of question coming at a very rapid fire, type towards you. Like someone is asking me what is the consistency of an aspect, what is the uh, ratio for an aspect, and suddenly a question comes, what is the geopolitical state of the whole world? So it's
Right.
just different, both ends, and you have to constantly navigate through every question and everything. And also one thing which stood apart in the general managers round was that they would also ask us about what was around us. So I remember I was sitting at a lounge. So my general managers round happened in Taj City Center, Kolkata. They have a all-day dining called Shamiana, and Shamiana had a very peculiar kind of a sculpture of a Pegasus. So we were
Okay.
just sitting at the lounge, and the Pegasus was just behind the sofa. I just looked around, and I was just looking. I was strolling there. When I went in, I didn't expect this question to come. That they asked me Rishabh, you were sitting in the lounge. What was the restaurant behind you? What was its name? So it was Shamiana, I knew about it. Although I have not trained in that hotel, I was asked about the number of rooms it has, the number of rooms Taj Bengal Kolkata has, and also what material was that sculpture of Pegasus made out of. So they were really focusing on our peripheral, observation skills and how minutely we observe things.
Right. And when you say that different questions and unexpected questions are thrown at you, how did Young Leader actually prepare you for that? Because a lot of people think that bootcamp or a program, we just sign up for the program and we are done, right? But these unexpected questions, how did you tackle them? How did Young Leader help you in that?
So, as I said, let's backtrack a bit for consistency.
Right.
It's a two-way street. You just sign up for a boot camp and you don't get the results. You have to put in your own efforts. So this is what I gained. We used to have mock interviews. Mr. Kukreja used to take mock interviews for us, and he used to be very precise and very strict with us. So that somewhere, developed me to focus on these things. And I remember, as I said, those little bit things you get to focus upon when you're consistent. That is the thing he once said. Always keep an eye upon your surroundings. There might be a question which is coming around from there. Also, a thing which I, missed apart. I'm a kitchen interested person. I was only asked one question from kitchen. I was asked about housekeeping from the place I trained about, from front office place I trained about, not even F&B. So this is also one thing which, Mr. Kukreja tried to inculcate within us, that you are going to be a management trainee, and a management trainee should know about the hotel you are working upon. Not just the department. The department should be a specialty, but you should have an overall knowledge. And I would like to quote him on this thing that he used to say us: be jack of all trades and master of one. And it has really stuck with me.
I could definitely agree on that. And we here at TBH in Young Leaders especially believe that that when you have industry experts, right, it is very helpful to know what kind of questions and what unexpected questions are rather asked, right? So being at TBH Circle in a program like Young Leader Bootcamp, you get the exposure of industry experts also. That will certainly help you in your journey, right? Rishabh, let me ask you your preparation journey from the time that you thought of preparing seriously till the time you have the offer letter in your hand. What was the preparation? What was the journey for you?
Okay, so part of my preparation started from the first day itself.
Mhm.
So before I enrolled into the college, I stumbled upon an Instagram account called OCLD. And I was quite intrigued, what is this? So let's search about it. And wow, it was like the UPSC of our industry. So from there, I made a vision that if you want to be trained very well, if you want to have those openings, if you want to have those opportunities, it's very crucial for you to land a good management trainee, or at least a good program at a very strong brand, from where you can develop a bedrock of foundation and then further, build on it. So since first year, I was, focusing on the basics and everything. What I thought was it would be something very generic. Learn your theory stuff, learn your practical, you'll be through with it. But I was quite wrong. So in the second year, our college shared us a link about TBH Circle, and Mr. Kukreja himself was only conducting it as a 2-hour bootstrap class for IT interviews. So I just chose to, let's tune in and see what happens. And within that 2 hours, the guidance he gave for the group discussion, how to form your introduction to a bit, how to take the interview your way, it really helped me. And I did, make a format of all those things, develop my answers, wrote it down, practiced it a bit for my IIT interviews, and I landed up at a very prestigious hotel, the Oberoi Grand. So from there, I had made a decision that, I should know about these. So before joining for my IT, I enrolled in the Bacchus. And that was solely because I believe that in our cooking, a lot of
Mhm.
alcohol is used at times, and wines is a very crucial part of it. And I was, just scrolling through Instagram. I saw a chef. He was very specific about the year and the vintage wine he was using for a specific dish. So, it wondered to me, what is so specific about a red wine? So I enrolled into Bacchus. I learned about the different notes, the different pairings, and it further, increased my knowledge. Post which I had made a decision itself only that I would join the Young Leaders Bootcamp, and I did so. So as I joined the Young Leaders Bootcamp, the rigorous training started for
Mm.
30 or 40 odd days. Every day, coming for classes, facing interviews, giving presentations, taking feedbacks, no matter how harsh it is, you have to take it critically and analyze it and work upon it. So that is how I started preparing myself. And also, since being a kitchen person, your basics needs to be on point with your practical skills. As I said about the omelette, getting a perfect omelette is quite difficult. Practicing it every day, just like you practice your answers, just like you practice your way of speaking, everything should be taken a note of. So that is
Right.
how, step by step, and also Mr. Vikram put in his thoughts and his opinions, which I later inculcated, developed it much more, all those things.
Right. And I can say that rather, besides choosing to join Young Leader, you also choose to invest in your learning.
Yeah.
And this is where the difference comes in. Right. Rishabh, throughout your preparation journey, you joined in second year to the third year, right? This 1 year period, I believe that you might have some ups and downs, highs and lows, right? In your learning curve. The learning curve would be a roller coaster, right? What were your major challenges in this period?
Major challenge would be, firstly, it was balancing out my Bacchus classes. So
Mhm.
I did a very adventurous stuff that was, I was having 5 days of college and I enrolled myself into a restaurant to know how to work. And I used to do a 14 hours shift on the weekends. So I used to take 2 hours off, go for my Bacchus class, just do it, come again and work at the restaurant. So time management was one thing which I worked upon. Other challenges is would be when I enrolled into Young Leaders Boot Camp, I got to understand that there are various pitfalls which I need to work upon, or else they would restrict me from getting a good program.
Mm.
It was like having a great clarity of thought, what I'm going to speak, having a good thought process, analyzing things very critically on different stages, from a guest point of view, from a management point of view, from an operations point of view, all those things. You know, all those things when I joined the Young Leaders Boot Camp became more easier for me to understand, and I improved on it. And that's how, today I can say I'm a bit better from what I was, but still a long way to go.
Definitely, but I believe that learning and investing yourself is a continuous process. It goes a long way, right? And what you said from that, I can say that you value a lot mentoring in your life, like mentorship. You value this a lot. So, what was the role of mentorship in your life? Specifically talking about, say, Vikram, right?
Yes. So, okay. So, Vikram had trust in me when I lost trust on myself. And that is quite necessary for a mentor. I'll be quite honest with you, the placement season started very gloom for me. I was getting rejected from every brand. Something or the other was not working around, or they were like, "You are quite well, but you don't, fit the case." So I was quite low. But at that time, Vikram said, "There will be a company. Don't worry about it." And I can say today that, yeah, since he had that faith in me, I have today, bagged a good program, which I would be looking forward to. So that's one thing. Also, step by step mentoring about how you should go about a particular interview. Also, one thing which Vikram said has stayed with me is visualizing your interviews. It's very crucial to visualize how questions would be coming at you and how you would be answering to them. and also simultaneously thinking about the counter questions which your answer might bring upon.
From all that, I can say that you were over prepared. Like, think everything inside the box, out of the box, and be ready for everything and anything.
Yeah. So
Kind of.
I think it's better to be overdressed than underdressed.
Definitely, definitely. And especially in case of interviews and everything, right? We have talked about the challenges that you faced and how TBH Circle, Young Leaders, helped you in that. What were the learnings that you really appreciate that you got out of
Okay.
this bootcamp?
Firstly, it would be learning is clarity of thought, as I said. It's very crucial. You should know how to express what you're thinking about. Then, certain leadership qualities of how to moderate, how to delegate to some extent, coordinate, team membership, presenting a certain thing, how, and public speaking also. You know, modulating your voice, your body posture, your everything. That is something which I really learned. And also in YLB, we shared a quite of a strong camaraderie between ourselves, helping each other whenever needed. Like I completed my Taj interviews quite before other people did. So as to send the case studies which we got, and others, they got a chance to capitalize on that as well. Discuss it with Bikram. Similar things happened to me. Others got through their corporate rounds before I got an opportunity to understand the questions and again get a run through with Mr. Vikram and come out with answers, all these things.
Okay, great, great. So if I may ask you, what is the one most interesting or say innovative part of Young Leaders that you really like?
So one interesting part would be the interesting classes and the innovative ways Vikram used to teach us. It
Okay,
was
the teacher.
quite attractive and quite creative, and you have to, work your brain to make up answers. Like you couldn't just pull it on a jiffy like this. You have to think about it.
Okay, okay, great. Hmm. Um, Rishabh, when you talk about consistency and when you talk about showing up for the classes, practice sessions, Young Leaders has a feature of post the program support, 365 days of support that Young Leaders offer you, right? Uh, how was it helpful for you?
It was quite helpful. Quite helpful because the classes ended, I believe, somewhere around
Right.
May or before that, might be, or April. So, and my interviews for Taj majorly started since August, late August. So, getting that constant support, also the, uh, how should I put it, the revision classes every month or every 2 weeks. It used to brush up our memories of and get us online with what we need to do and what we not need to do before our corporate rounds, before our general manager rounds, before even our trade tests. Those, half an hour chit chat sessions just in the morning before going to the interviews, a 10-minute call with Vikram, understanding the things all around. Those really helped.
Right, right, definitely. Practice sessions, the continuous rigorous practice that you guys are getting. Right. Okay. I think we have covered every topic we could have, right? One last question I would like to ask you, Rishabh, and then we can conclude this, would be if you were to give one piece of advice to your juniors or people who are going to sit for MT soon, right? What would that one piece of advice be?
Believe in yourself. Believe it. Like, be confident, don't be overconfident. And to some extent, fake it till you make it.
Oh, great, great. And if a students ask you that, Rishabh, why should I go for Young Leaders as a second year, as a first year, as a person who's starting to prepare for MD? Why should they choose the Young Leaders? What makes us different?
See, so for us, if I'm considering me as a second year student, I would approach a third year student who is
Okay.
giving his interviews. Right. Now, a third year student has a limited exposure to the industry. And it's way better to get in touch with someone who has, such demonstrated experience on the industry and knows it inside out pretty well. And it's still connected with the nitty gritties of it. Mostly the mentors which students in second years or third years go for are the super seniors or seniors who have got MT programs. And now they are doing their MT programs. They are quite busy in that because those are pretty rigorous training. So
Right.
instead of you always tend to go for a boot camp, but boot camps are quite expensive because I have been, searching for other boot camps before joining into YLB, was doing my due diligence. And YLB offered me more value for money and much more returns in sense of, I made new friends, I made new connections. Some people in the industry know my name now, and it's very crucial. And also, a person like Mr. Vikram Kukreja, who has such demonstrated experience in the field of hospitality, is mentoring you towards it, and he knows it inside out. So it's pretty important for you to understand from whom you need to take the guidance because seniors might have a other overview, personal overview, for which they might guide you in a different direction. So that's it.
Right. Yeah, it boils down to right mentorship, insights from industry experts, and definitely what you said, networking and connection from pan India colleges, students as well, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Rishabh. It was a very interesting conversation with you, and
That's,
I wish you luck for your future. And yes, appreciate you taking out the time and investing here with us.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishabh.